Hello, everybody. How you doing on this lovely Tuesday? It is Black History Month, and I'm shouting it out loud because I'm black and I'm proud. And I just want to know one thing. Do you care about your self-care?
Yeah!
All right. Oh, man, I hope you're ready for today. I really do. Because it's a grand rising. It's not even just about the fact of being beautiful to be black. It's just beautiful to be alive, and the beauty of waking up and allowing the sun to hit your eyes and allow it illuminate the love that God has put inside of each and every single one of us, and see it in that mirror when we wash our faces and love what we see. And I hope that you love what you see, and I mean that from my heart, because I love what I see, and I love even when I look away from that mirror and I see the love in others. And that, to me, is a beautiful way of seeing people have self-care for themselves. Not just for this month, but every day. So, without to hold you back, I'm going to just be straightforward and blunt with you all. And the fact of this is Black History Month. And there's other months where we also express the beauty of being black, the beauty of the history from where it started, from across the seas, across all over this nation, as we look down into the ground and look up into the skies, as it's written all over all of us, especially when we pray and we feel it from inside of us. And I just want to drop a gem for you for my Black history story. You can cue that. It's a little Gil Scott Heron is my choice of Black history. Is it?
I was wondering about our yesterdays and digging through the rubble. And to say the least, somebody went to a hell of a lot of trouble to make sure that when we looked things up, we wouldn't fare too well. And we would come up with totally unreliable pictures of ourselves. But I've compiled what few facts I could, such as they are, to see if we could find out a little bit of something. And this is what I got so far. First, white folks discovered Africa. They claimed it fair and square. Cecil Rhodes couldn't have been robbing nobody because, hell, there wasn't nobody there. And white folks brought all the civilization because there wasn't none around. How could the folks be civilized when wasn't nobody writing nothing down? And just to prove all of their suspicions, well, didn't take too long. They found out that there were whole tribes of people in plain sight running around with no clothes on. That's right. The men, the women, the young, and the old righteous folks covered their eyes. And no time was spent considering the environment. Hell no, this just wasn't civilized. And another piece of information they had, or at least this is what we were taught, is that unlike the civilized people of Europe, these tribal units actually fought. And yes, there was some crude implements, and yes, there was primitive art, and yes, they were masters of hunting and fishing, and courtesy came from the heart. And yes, there was love and medicine, religion, intertribal communication by drum, but no paper, no pencils, and no other utensils, and hell, these folks never even heard of a gun. And this is why the colonies came, to stabilize the land, because the dark continent had copper and gold, and the discoverers had themselves a plan. They would discover all the places with promise. You didn't need no titles and deeds. Then they would appoint people to make everything legal, to sanction the trickery and greed. And back in the jungle, when the natives got restless, they would call it guerrilla attack. And they would never describe that the folks finally got wise and decided that they would fight back. And still, we are victims of word games. Semantics is always a bitch. Places once referred to as underdeveloped are now called mineral rich. And the game goes on eternally. Unity kept just beyond reach. Egypt and Libya used to be in Africa. They've now been moved to the Middle East. There are examples galore, I assure you. But if interpreting were left up to me, I'd be sure every time folks knew this version wasn't mine, which is why it is called his story.
Gil Scott Heron. Gil Scott Heron is a poet that my mother introduced to me when I was 12 years old. And he had a poem called His Story. And that poem captivated my mind as a young man at 12 years old. Because also at that age, that's when I also learned the expression of allowing words to captivate my mind and affect my soul in a positive way. Like especially watching movies, and when well, even though I wasn't born at that time to hear it originally, but Gil Scott-Heron was talking about how the Europeans found this, discovered that, and a lot of the things that they say that they found and discovered was already there. It's just they claimed it by the discovery of having it written down for others to understand from their intellect. Not shaming nobody upon the understanding of history. We just know it's a lot of scrutiny going on in it. And I say that for people to want to search the truth for themselves. Because when you search, you find yourself approve of what you've learned, what you discovered, even down to the Bible. When you read it yourself, can't nobody tell you what God says and what God knows when you know. For you. Because that is your self-care. Getting connected to your higher power. Getting connected to your special being within you that is connected to the being that made us all. And when you connect yourself to that, you find your right path from your present by understanding the past in the present to move forward into the future. Because what is the point of studying the past and doing nothing with it in the present to move forward into a future? That's what I gained from Gil Scott-Heron. And I just want to throw it into the audience. Who is somebody that your parents introduced to you, or a teacher had introduced to you, or someone you found just on your own that touched you, your young heart, or the heart that you had at the time of the discovery of wanting to know more? Who was it that impacted you?
My name is Brenda.
Thank you.
For me, it was Mr. Clark, Joe Clark. I looked up to him because he would always tell me, Miss Kelly, get to class. He cared about us, all of us, and he wanted what was best for, all of the black kids that went to East Side or School 6. So, and I love him.
East Side. I'm an East Side alumni myself. You have another?
So when you saw the movie, what did you think about the movie?
Oh, I like the movie, but I know Mr. Clark in real life. You know what I'm saying? Because me and him, we would always have it out and stuff like that.
So was you that girl that was in the movie that he was having that back and forth with? That was your character in that movie?
Relate very well. Okay. Mr. Clark was my teacher too, my 7th grade math teacher.
Wow.
But the one that inspired me the most was Muhammad Ali.
All right.
Muhammad Ali was a great boxer.
Yes.
And he also was a great poet.
Yes.
And he speaks the truth. He wasn't how people think his character nowhere. He wouldn't go fight in the Vietnam War. He said, them people ain't do nothing to me. I have a problem with my own people in America.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he inspired me a lot. I got great love for Muhammad Ali.
Love my fly like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Well, it wasn't my mother that introduced to this person, but the person that comes to my mind is that I want to celebrate is Ronald Joseph.
All right.
I'm inspired by Ronald Joseph because he is somebody from the community that used to be a problem in the community, and he came in these doors, and life just miraculously turned around, and he's been 24/7 finding ways to be a blessing to his community.
Yeah.
And giving back.
That's where his
He's a family man.
Yes.
He brought his son here, who we love. And we also love his father, who's a reverend, and his mother. And he's just a blessing to the community. So people like Ronald Joseph remind us that you can't judge folk. You just got to allow folks to find their path, and when they find their path, they can become a blessing. Ronald Joseph.
Say that and be about that.
I say that I'm gonna say this is Dr. Moody in tier 1. Because when I came through these doors, I was just all over the place. My mind wasn't right. But when I met this man, he didn't judge or nothing. He just said, find who you are. And I just thank God for him and Elder Shockley, she's not here, and Michelle. But I really thank God for Dr. Moody because he really, what you see besides grace of God, what you see now is because of Dr. Moody in tier 1. And it's just an example of you got to pay attention to those who've been through it.
Yeah.
I don't know everything. I mean, I wasn't trying to, and Dr. Moody showed me how to be a better husband, son, father, friend, and a community activist. A leader. Them wasn't coming out my mouth, a community activist in the neighborhood. Them words wasn't coming out my mouth because I was just doing what I have to do to make ends meet.
Yes.
But I just thank God that Dr. Moody listened and opened up this building. Thank you, Dr. Moody.
And folks, as we bring it back to
I'm Bobby. And what inspired me, and it's funny, was a TV series called Roots. And,
Wow, I remember that.
I remember I had to be forced to watch it. And once I sat down and watched it, I always said to myself, what am I complaining about? And, you know, for Black History Month, to see how far back we were and what we came to now, that we can vote and all this other stuff, I said, exercise your rights.
That's right.
Because people die for it. So I thank God that we get a chance to look backwards in February and celebrate us for the whole month.
Amen.
And folks, what you're hearing is nothing but culture. Not just in the fact that we're talking about Black history, but the fact that we're conveying the understanding of what we learned through history. Because he and she have a story that they have to tell, that they heard from another person and they're carrying on. Not just from their own understanding, but from the understanding that was given to them. We can only pass on what was detrimental and effective, not just towards us, but towards others. Some would say what's good for the goose is good for the gander. It all depends on what you're teaching that goose. Because that one apple that can go spoil will ruin the whole pot. Detrimental. It's very important that we teach ourselves about ourselves. Because if we don't know ourselves, how can we, why would, in fact, I'm going to just say it truthfully. I, an individual, a Black man, I will not accept anyone outside of what I am. Tell me what I am. Tell me what my history is. Tell me how we used to do this and do that. No, I don't want to hear nothing from you. I want to hear it from the people that look like me.
Amen. Right. He said that. And that's Heron. That's his working. That's why he said his story.
Mm-hmm.
They've been telling us their story.
Yes.
And we want to know
Our story.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you. And I say it that way because we need leaders. We need teachers. Or shall I say Sebayt. And how to spell that word is Sebayt. That means to learn and to teach. And that is a word in Commission, ancient Egyptian word. Sebayt means to be a student and a teacher. But in order to be a teacher, you must first be a student first. Meaning you are going to relearn everything that you was taught from its original basings of who wrote it, who described it, who invented it originally. Okay, another person wrote the book for the next generation to understand, but who wrote the first? Always have to go to the first, the basics.
I like how you said who described it.
Yes, and with that being said, I say that because it was taught to me, it was shown to me, and I didn't take it serious because I didn't understand me, and I also knew in a certain way that those that was teaching me didn't understand them either, and I judged wrongly, and I learned from that, and I accepted, because out of that it birthed a hunger for more understanding, a hunger for truth, a hunger for not accepting no lie just because it glitters with gold or because somebody said it a sweet way. That's not for me. And I would love for others who look like me, and even if you don't look like me, and you love your history, you love your culture, you love communicating with your elders and those that are younger than you, to bridge that gap, which is the culture. Because if we don't bridge the gap between the past and the future and keep it positive, keep it full of love, knowledge, and dignity, we're going to be all over the place how we seeing things right now.
So what is your answer to what the problem that we're seeing now? How do we bridge this?
How do we bridge that gap?
And open it up.
Yes, that is a good question.
Where we're at now.
How do you see bridging the gap within within culture, the culture of understanding?
Has his hand raised.
I think what's happening and what I see family ties being broken. And one of the things I know, they said a divided house can't stand.
Oh, yes.
Well, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yes.
But if there is no unity within the household, how can you look, to build a community? The community starts at home. We look in the mirror. The person that has to change is the person in the mirror. We become better, which means that our household becomes better. A better household make a better community. Better communities make better cities. But it has to start home.
It starts with itself.
I like the fact that you said start with the younger and the elders.
Yes.
And that's important because and elders don't necessarily mean age. It can mean experience.
Yes.
And when you start there, you bridging a gap because you are teaching one. Right?
Yes.
And but you're transparent and you're telling them the truth
Yes.
of how you made it over, how you're gonna go into the future, and you share that, and that brings them into the future, and that dispels the darkness of generational patterns and cycles and curses in our family. Now you break that curse off of that new generation so it won't carry over. So that gap is between the older or the elder, the teachable, the teacher to the teachable. You got to have a teachable spirit to break that, what you're talking about. Easy. I
It's like what God has put in my spirit with the raw service, like we bridging the gap between recovery and Christ. Bringing that together.
Yes.
To show them that raw service, you don't have to, it's not like Sunday service. Raw service, you can tell your testimony or your story, because as we all here, we wear a lot of masks. See, that's what's hurting a lot of us family. We wearing a lot of masks, and like Bobby said, like we have it. What stays in the house
Sometimes
stays in the house.
Yeah.
What's done in the house stays in the house.
Yes. So we have to trust, put our trust in God to know like Reverend Stokes said, we have to have a teachable spirit. Because I think God, that's what I have, a teachable spirit. Half the knowledge is there, right here. So you have to put that into existence. Thank you for letting me share.
I would just also add that I believe this. I was speaking the other day about the spirit of the millennials.
Come on, yeah.
Because they just not having it.
No.
They're not having it. They're not accepting our foolishness. They're not accepting the elder that is the hypocrite.
Yes.
The ones that are manipulating the system. All some folks is just me and mine. So I think the millennials challenge us because they are not accepting the status quo. And if we would listen to them, because they are our future,
Yes.
I think that would also bridge the gap.
And honestly, actually, I really can't say no more other than just the back it. When it comes up to the generation of today, I'm not speaking for them, but I can see for them, and being that I am an elder now, but I'm still teachable, and I
ain't no elder.
I'm just about there, but so and I.
Millennial. You're a thundercat. You trust me. You're a millennial.
I know I'm a millennial. Yes.
To do with age, remember. There's some age people.
Yes.
That is an infant.
Mm-hmm.
You got the spirit of a millennial. You do.
I still hold on to my wisdom. Although my last name may be Edge, I'm really a wise. But another podcast about that. But when it comes up to today's generation, and like you said, they're not trying to have somebody lie to them at all. They're seeing through everything that has gone past through generations, all the way down to just the moon landing alone.
Zamir teaches us that. Rayvon teaches us that. Lewis teaches us that.
Mm-hmm.
Who else?
Hold up.
Princess teaches us that. They're just real honest.
Yes.
And real. And they can see fake.
Mm-hmm.
And so they teach us that you gotta be right.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be
Brain
righteous.
truth. Mm-hmm.
I ain't necessarily mean spiritually, right, Rayvon? Yeah. They call us out.
Rayvon do it in his sleep. You like,
and that's why we love.
You're lying. I understand everything you're saying. I'm in the class. I'm on point. What did you say? Hey, yo, easy, you little run. But yeah, like it's a lot of the youth in this world today, they want truth.
Yes.
Nothing but truth.
Right.
And when you and I say that because even me as a child growing up with my mom always says she would never lie to me. She told me a lot of truth. She held back a lot of things, but I'm just focused on the fact that she told me a lot of truths. She told me about the world. She told me about life. She told me about the Bible. She told me about Commission understanding. She taught me martial arts. She taught me how to love myself. Taught me how to do a lot of things and appreciate others, even in the midst of my own failures. And through the truth of all of those things that she honestly taught me, wanting me to know. A lot of parents should want to tell their children the truth. You want a good relationship with your child, tell them the truth for what is important for them to know and to grow.
I'm just curious,
in this world.
Did she tell you the truth about your father?
Yes. There was no hiding about people.
So why was y'all fighting?
That was that was his and my this misunderstanding. That was our misunderstanding as men. And we settled that out. I love my father. I was just on the phone with him earlier. Stop talking through the side of your tooth. But yes. And in closing, what is something that you want the future that you're building to know the truth of? Can we get the lights?
Hey everybody, I'm Princess.
Hey, Princess.
I would like everyone in the world to know a truth that could benefit themselves right now and for forever, really. That our conscious reality, this beautiful gift that God gives us every day we wake up, is 5% of everything He put in there, whereas 95% of what we encounter is our subconscious. So people should really take advantage of therapy, Christ, talking to each other, so that stuff that's in there that you can't see could come out, because it plays a big role in your everyday life, your future, and the generations to come.
You go ahead.
Anyone else? Or was that good enough to y'all? Well, folks, as you heard from all of these beautiful people that you saw that spoke or didn't speak or just chimed in, they love who they are, and I love them because of it. So do you care about your self-care? Yeah!